Hey, what's going on, guys? It's been another week, which means it's time for another Fallout 4 Mods Weekly. And guess what? It's been a whole lot of weapon mods this week. Yeah, I know, it's getting a bit stale, but hey, it's new free content that we get to enjoy and play with and keep this dead game alive. And it's technically not all weapon mods this week. We do have another little pretty crazy expansive mod that adds a lot of new stuff, including weapons. So let's go ahead and jump in with the first mod, which is a regular old weapon mod, and that is the SKS Redux by Precision Tacos. This is going to be a complete overhaul and re-release of Precision Tacos' old SKS mod, complete with tons of customization with beautiful models and textures, as well as custom animations, leveled list integration, and some other neat goodies scattered around the wasteland. There's really a lot going on in this mod, and I may need to give it its own dedicated video to really go over every single thing. But as a brief overview, you're going to get a brand new heavily customizable SKS that features not only stripper clip reloads, but also full magazine reloads, both of which contain custom animations. There are a couple of new locations added to this mod, one where you can actually obtain the regular old SKS, and another that is a secret little bunker that has some Easter eggs, shall we say, hidden away there. If you want to get your hands on the SKS, I'm actually very happy to say that there's quite a few methods to do so. This is added to the leveled list, and you can start finding this thing on raiders and gunners, as well as the pack raiders from Nuka World, which is a pretty cool little addition, and they even come with their own unique skin for this weapon. Anywhere that you would find the SKS will start spawning after level 15, but there are other methods to acquire this weapon. Of course, you can purchase it from vendors, but also you can head to one of the new locations just in between Nordhagen Beach and Fort Strong, where you'll find a washed up shipping container. Much like the original version of this mod, there is a new container with a few raiders there and a whole lot of destroyed SKSs, but if you dig through them, you'll eventually find a couple that are nearly working. But now, instead of being able to shoot them right off the bat, you're going to need to take them over to a weapons workbench, and once there, you need to swap out the busted receiver as well as the obstructed barrel for new parts, and now it is a fully functional SKS. So if you don't want to have to go out there and get lucky finding it on the level list, you can actually go to this specific location and repair a few for yourself. Once you have one of these guys, you have a whole slew of attachments, many different real-world version of SKS parts, as well as some very non-traditional parts. Definitely some Bubba-made attachments. There's also a handful of paints and wood finishes you can apply to this weapon, and there's even a couple of unique variants scattered around the wasteland, some that will spawn specifically on raiders with their own cool paint jobs, and there's even a unique version of this specifically for Diamond City guards that has a nice little Diamond City wrap and a nice big scope on it as well. So yeah, the SKS is a very cool retro weapon that fits perfect in the world of Fallout, and having a mod like this that adds so much content for just one weapon is very, very neat. So excellent work by Precision Tacos. Very happy to see this mod in its final version. Now the next mod is the complete opposite end of the spectrum. Instead of a retro classic firearm, we have something very new and very modern, and that is the Modern Warfare 2022 ISO Hemlock by Winter. This is going to be one of the newest rifles added to Modern Warfare 2, completely ported over to Fallout 4 with custom animations, custom sounds, of course, custom models and textures from Modern Warfare 2, and a whole lot of customization over at the weapons workbench. By default, if you want to acquire this weapon, it is craftable over at the chemistry station, but you can download a patch which will make this start spawning out in the world after level 20. For all intents and purposes, this is your pretty traditional 5.56 assault rifle, though it does have a conversion to 300 blackout, and it sports a pretty low fire rate for most ARs, offering some big damage per shot. One small note about this mod is that it will require see-through scopes to function for any of the optics, but that is all. However, there are a handful of patches you can download to add even more functionality to this mod, though they are not required. One of which is the armament patch, which will allow you to use actual 300 blackout rather than a reskinned 5.56. There is a fake through scopes patch, which is a new mod that just came out. I haven't tested it too much, but it's supposed to be very similar to see-through scopes, but with a little bit more of a realistic look to the scope. There is a leveled list inject patch that we talked about earlier, and there's even a tactical reload patch, of course. That way you can get your most realistic reloads possible. If you're a fan of modern tactical firearms, this is definitely a unique one to add into your load order. There isn't really an assault rifle just like this one on the Nexus as of right now, so this is definitely something a bit different than your standard M4. But checking out our next weapon mod, we have another Modern Warfare port that's a little bit more like an M4, and that is the Honey Badger from Modern Warfare 2022 by Warfighters Workshop. This is going to add in what is known as the Chimera in Modern Warfare 2, but as many of you may know it, the Honey Badger. And this thing comes with a whole lot of options, including a handful of unique variants, and as well as a ton of customization over at the weapons workbench, custom animations, sounds, and of course, beautiful models and textures straight from Modern Warfare 2, as this is a port. This mod is going to feature a whole lot of similarities to the last mod we just checked out. Again, a lot of the same attachments and scopes, as well as assets directly from Modern Warfare 2, but the Honey Badger is an interesting little gun. This thing is an integrally suppressed assault rifle that is only available in 300 Blackout. This mod is going to add its own standalone version of 300 Blackout that is used, so you don't need to depend on any other mods for that. Speaking of dependencies though, there are two mods that you will require in order to use this mod, and that is the See-Through Scopes mod as well as Tactical Reload. However, there is an optional file that will remove that Tactical Reload dependency. You are still going to need See-Through Scopes though, as it's required for every single optic in this mod. There is sadly no level-less integration for this mod. Instead, you're going to have to craft it over at the chemistry station or just spawn it in via the console. Little note, while this weapon is called the Honey Badger on the mod page, if you're going to spawn it in, you are going to need to refer to it as the Chimera, as that is the actual name it goes by in the mod files. Altogether, another nice little COD port, adding a brand new tactical weapon into your load order. Definitely not for you die-hard, lore-friendly traditionalists, but the Honey Badger is still a very cool weapon, so if you're looking for something like this for your load order, I'd highly recommend checking it out. Now, the rest of the mods in this video I actually have full breakdowns of already on the channel, but in case you didn't see those, we'll go ahead and break them down really quick here on Mods Weekly. The first one is known as Radical, Children of Atom Addons by RascalArt. This is the first mod in this video that is not actually a standalone weapon mod. It's actually a huge overhaul to the Children of Atom faction, but it does feature a handful of weapons. Now then, this mod is going to add a ton of new NPCs and enemies for you to fight in Far Harbor and the Glowing Sea, all themed around the Children of Atom. This is going to expand upon the Children of Atom faction itself, adding a new type of enemy that is actually going to use exosuits, very similar to power armor, that are completely custom, and they're even going to have their own new weapons, one of which is the bolt rifle, and another one is the shard cannon. But the Children of Atom faction itself isn't the only thing that's getting added. You're also going to get a new faction known as the Divided, which is essentially the answer to the question, what happens when a Children of Atom member gets a little too much radiation? Well, eventually they will become ghoulified, and these guys are the result of that. We now have a new faction of completely ghoulified Children of Atom members who have gone to a sort of quote-unquote higher being. They definitely think they are the new path that Adam has chosen for them, considering they have completely accepted radiation into their life and have definitely suffered the consequences of that. They even have their own unique armor sets that are really cool, including a handful of masks and muzzles that will help to keep them a little bit more tame whenever they go fully feral. Some of these guys even have their own custom power armor made out of a bunch of wasteland creatures like Mirelurks and Deathclaws. These are definitely some really cool and interesting new NPCs. But they're not the only ones. We also have a handful of miscellaneous creatures added to Far Harbor and the Glowing Sea that are really cool, including fireflies, which are their own unique insect type that will have multiple variants. There are regular fireflies, firefly swarms, and even firefly queens. Additionally, we have a new type of ghoul known as feral ghoul spitters, which are going to be a new set of ghoul that actually will fire projectiles at you. They use angler animations and they look really interesting. And on them you may even find some glowing rocks, which can be used as ammo for one of the new weapons. And then finally, we have the Fog Haunter, a very terrifying new enemy who uses Deathclaw animations, which is essentially actually, I don't know what this thing is. Maybe it's a ghoul of some sort. There's not really a lot of information on the mod page, and it's a little bit interesting. A lot of you guys pointed out in the last video that this is based on an SCP. I don't know a whole lot about that, but it definitely is pretty creepy. Altogether, this mod adds a ton of new content, not only to Far Harbor, but also to the Glowing Sea and just to the Children of Atom in general. So if you're a fan of that faction, or you just want to beef it up and add more variety to your combat, this is definitely a mod I'd recommend checking out. Now, the last two mods are kind of a bundle of mods. They are two brand new rocket launchers. One is the Modern Warfare 2 Strela P, and the other is the Modern Warfare 2 JOKR, both of which ported by Alphaca. That's right, we've got some new Modern Warfare ports. I know some of you guys aren't too happy about that, but hey, these are some really high quality models and textures, some definitely good looking guns in the game. So while it may not fit your theme of load order, these are definitely some really cool assets. Now, the Strela P is your more traditional missile launcher, a fire and forget missile. You point, you click, and the missile goes where it's supposed to. But the JOKR is more of an artillery piece. You may know this as the Javelin. You actually need to acquire a lock on a target, then it will fire a missile up into the air, and then it will swing back down with some mighty powerful force. The Strela P definitely feels a bit underpowered when you first pick it up, but once you have put on the appropriate perks, this thing can definitely pack a lot of damage, whereas the JOKR does a lot of damage right off the bat. Perks don't really seem to affect it, but it definitely doesn't need them. It has the ability to take out tons of beefy enemies with one missile. While the JOKR does have its own custom projectiles, neither of these use custom ammo types. They will just use the vanilla missile, so there are sort of some balancing issues here and there. Additionally, the way you obtain these weapons isn't the most balanced either. The Strela P can be found over at the USS Constitution, and the JOKR is literally just sitting in Good Neighbor right above Cleo. Balance aside though, these weapons do also have some really cool custom animations in first person. They do have third person animations as well, though they are a little bit wonkier as you're meant to see this thing completely in first person as it is a COD port, and the JOKR reload is a little goofy in third person. Regardless of that though, these are both excellent new missile launchers. If you're looking for some new heavy weapons or explosive devices, these are definitely ones I'd recommend throwing into your game to help spice up that category, as there's just not a whole lot in vanilla. With that though, we're going to go ahead and wrap things up. 6 brand new mods, all of which featuring brand new weapons you can add to your game. I definitely recommend picking up Radical if you're looking for a ton of new content. That's definitely an awesome addition to Fallout 4. If you want to try out any of these mods, they will of course be linked down in the description below, along with Xbox links if there are any available. With that, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, don't forget to drop a rating, it really helps out the channel, and of course consider subscribing if you haven't already for more videos just like this. As always, a big shout out to all of my patrons for supporting every single video, and of course a very special thank you to Avian4, Captain Chaos, Freedom, Glasma, Helljumper, Indecisive Wolf, Kid Hades, Cushy, Logan Rigmaiden, Madly Matt, Mikerhan, Moonlit Gamer, Oscar Scott, Sterling, Steven, Timmy76, YouthRC, and Voider for joining that Tier 3 Patreon membership. If you'd like to support the channel over on Patreon, you can do so using the link down in the description, but it is completely optional. Thanks again for watching, guys, and I hope to see you all in the next one. Peace!